Hey everyone, give us a few seconds while we set everything up here. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome everyone.
Howdy. Hello.
Hey everyone, how's it going? We're going to give a few seconds for people to join our little live. And once we see everyone come in, we will start the show.
Yes.
So welcome. Please say if you're here by giving us a comment or thumbs up in the chat. And we'll be right back and we'll explain what we're doing today. Hello, everyone. All right, guys. So, yesterday, I asked everyone kind of what did they want for Cricut. If we wanted to do a demonstration or if we wanted to do a project. And a lot of people basically came in and said they wanted to see Cricut Design Space. So, welcome. This is a first in a series of videos I want to show you. And today we're focusing on how to download, insert, and use images for Cricut Design Space. So what we will be doing is showing you not only how to insert, where to find images, but also ultimately how are you going to download them and then clean them up. So that's kind of everything we're going to be doing today. This is a new camera system we have set up. So we have two cameras, one on me, one on Sean, and then one on the desktop. So at any time, if anything is not going technology right, let us know in the comments. Sean is watching comments.
Let us know if you can hear us. One person already said they have a hard time, but we can kind of boost the volume if we need to. Which is that little one there. Yeah. Just a little bit, not go too far. There you go.
All right. So,
all right. Hopefully that's going to be better.
Is that too loud or is it good? Good?
I can hear. You look good.
Thank you.
Nice tie. It's a beautiful tie.
All right, guys. So at any time, once again, if there's anything going wrong or questions, let me know. The point of doing this live is the interaction part. So if you guys are looking for specific questions or anything, this way we can answer the questions live. As soon as I do go to the desktop, though, and go into Cricut Design Space, I'm not going to see the questions, so we're relying on Sean, and he can kind of tell things. And I'll explain as we go what we're looking at and what Cricut Design Space. So let's go ahead and get started. Just one sec. All right, so we should be in Cricut Design Space now. Now, for those of you who are new, this is what Cricut Design Space would look like as you are seeing it. I do still have Sean on camera, so you guys will be able to see him. The only thing he's covering up is you're able to zoom in and out, so you can see things change there. And that's the only thing really he is covering up, so we're not too worried about that. Before I get started, I am going to change some settings. Up here in the left-hand upper corner, where you see these three little lines, some people call it the hamburger. If we click that and go to settings, we have some options, which is no grid. That will get rid of the grid in the background there. Also, if you needed inches or centimeters, this is where you would also change it. But I just like it to where I don't have the grid. That's a little distracting for me.
I have one question already that I'm not sure if you're going to be able to answer, but maybe you can. How can I view SVG thumbnails on Windows
10? On Windows, I believe you have to download. I thought Windows 10 showed you the thumbnails of images on SVG. I'm not very familiar with Windows 10 as I have a Mac and I'm able to see them. I click on it and it brings it up. But I believe Windows has a format in it to where you can see it, but I could be wrong on that. All right, so let's go ahead. Excuse me 1 second. God, love a puppy.
I love the pups.
Yeah. So let's first talk about the different things you can do in Cricut Design Space. So we do have an image tab here. So if you hit images, this will bring up all of the images in Cricut Design Space. So this is going to be any image that you see in Cricut Design Space. Now there's some things to look at. You have, if you notice here, you have subscribed, you have purchased, and then you'll have some that have a dollar sign. Let me see if I can find one of them with a dollar sign. And the dollar sign just means I haven't purchased it yet, and I could purchase it, which I don't see any write-off, but we'll get there. So what's the difference right off the bat between subscribed and purchased? Purchased means I've actually purchased that cartridge. So it is mine. Even if I was to leave Cricut for a while and come back, I would still own that cartridge to be able to be used. Subscribed means I'm a subscriber of the Cricut Access. Now, Cricut Access, if you guys are not familiar with Cricut Access let's bring that up for you. Cricut Access is a subscription service that gives you the ability to use the images for one loan cost. So think of this as kind of, I kind of say it's Netflix, or...
We're still having troubles not being able to hear us.
Is it one person, or is it...
Just a few, a small handful.
Okay, I apologize for those that aren't hearing us. I don't know if it's anyone else, but if it's the same person, okay, yeah, this Chihula Mama is the one that keeps saying that. So if it's just that, I apologize, Chihula Mama. You might have to turn it up, but it doesn't seem like anybody else is having issues. So I apologize about that interruption. It looks like that's the only one, Sean.
Okay, sounds good.
So the Cricut Access, for those of you who are wondering, is kind of like in a way of a Netflix or a Hulu. So Netflix essentially... So can they hear us or not?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There's just going to be a couple of people, but all in all, most people can hear us.
Okay, perfect. So essentially you have font, standard, and premium. And think of it as you subscribe to one of these memberships, you're going to get access to the Cricut library. So here for the standard access, this gives you 370 fonts, 30,000 images, plus you get 10% off digital purchases and 10% off physical purchases, and it's $9.99 a month. So as I am an Access member, anything with the little A, that means I have access to those images, okay? So now you can of course look at images based on whatever is, the first page is whatever's trending at that moment. So right now it's Valentine's Day. Categories would bring up any categories, so things that are free, popular, and then of course you even have all the way down to animals and different designers at the bottom. My favorite place to go is Cartridges. Cartridges are going to bring up all of the cartridges ever released with Cricut. Once again, you see this little A, which means that's part of the access. So I have access to this even if I didn't own it. But you can kind of come down here and see, once again, this here is purchase. That tells me that I purchased 3 Birds on Parade and can use any of these images. All the rest of them are access, so I have access to them. This is why access is so important, is it gives you a ton. Look at all these images you get access to. If we get to one that says free, here we see one that says free. This lets us know that this is free for right now. So Cricut always has a set that's free every week, and that is what this is. Every once in a while, you'll run into one of this. This Alphalicious is $29.99. So what that means is that's not part of access. There's no little A right here. And it also means that I do not own this cartridge. It's not a cartridge that I've owned in the past or currently own it. So if I was to use an image from this, I would have to buy the cartridge. So I always like to start off anytime that I'm talking about access, or excuse me, about images, just showing you all the images that are already preloaded into Cricut Design Space. Because a lot of times we go to look for an image and upload it into Design Space when really we have, I mean, you can see how many images there are.
So Guadalupe was asking, so I don't need to buy the cartridge?
Correct. So, so there's 2 different answers to that question. If you're an Access member, so for example, if you went to one of these and you became an Access, so this is Cricut Access, and you're going through here, anything with a little A on it means you're going to have access to every month. So you're buying into a service, but you get access to those. If it is something that's $29.99, so here's Anna's Winter Wonderland, it's $29.99. I can buy all the images on the set for $29.99, and I do not need the cartridge for that. in Cricut Design Space.
Are holiday themed designs available year-round or only holidays?
They are available year-round. So essentially keep in mind anything that is a name attached to the cartridge. So this Anna's Winter Wonderland, that's Anna Griffin. That is considered a licensed cartridge. Disney, Anna Griffin, Teresa Collins, Heidi Swapp, those are licensed. They're not going to be part of affiliate. Anything usually outside of that will be part of affiliate. So let's say Halloween's a perfect example. Halloween right here, these are all part of Access. So I have access to them at any time of the year.
So let's see, where was it? Can you buy just one image from a cartridge?
So let's take a peek. So this is J Good Designs, and I want to view all 28 images. So you can see by going in there, we can either buy the entire cartridge or we can buy individual little pieces from that. So they're $1.50 per image, or we can get all 17 images for that $19.99.
Are all cartridges bought digitally now?
So it is, to my knowledge, it looks like that Cricut is going all digital. So does that mean they're not still supporting old cartridges? Absolutely, they're supporting old cartridges. So if you go to a store or if you go somewhere and you find one of those old cartridges, they will be able to link that to your design space. But online and going forward, I think it is going to be digital cartridges. Any other designs before I...
Nope. You can continue.
Right. So this is basically where you can go to look for any Cricut images. So if I basically say I want this sweet, little Valentine's candy, when I select that, it's going to come down here. You're going to see an image right down here, a little preview image that lets me know, hey, you've selected this image. And then I can insert the image by just hitting Insert Images, and there we go. So it's in our Cricut design space.
Somebody's asking, but if you want a physical cartridge still, then can you get them on eBay and certain other stores like Tuesday Mornings, Joann's, Michael's, Hobby Lobbies, etc.?
So physical cartridges will be going away. So right now, whoever still has physical cartridges are, they will be selling those cartridges, and Cricut can link those to your Cricut design space. But in the future, they're not going to be releasing digital cartridge, or excuse me, physical cartridges. They'll just be a digital cartridge that they're releasing. So I believe they've officially announced that. I don't know if that for sure, but if you've watched HSN or if you've seen any of the newer cartridges coming out, they might come in a little cartridge, but they have a code in there, and then you would go in and put the code in to Cricut, and that would unlock all those images for you.
And there you go.
So yeah. So once your image is in, there's a lot of stuff that you can do with the image, but we'll show that in a different episode. Since this is mostly bringing images in, that's kind of what we want to show. I want to go back to our image library here because there is some other things you can do that a lot of people don't know. The first thing is, of course, search images. There's 60,000 images. If I want to search heart, it is going to bring up any with the keyword of heart, which we'll talk about keywords here in a second. But this will show you how many images. There's 2,440 hearts inside of just Cricut design space. Now we can upload our own heart and then tag it with the word heart so it would show up on our results, but this will give you all sorts of search for this. It is important to know which one you're on, because right now we're on images. You can see that because it's highlighted in green. If I was in cartridges, let's say, and search heart, it's looking for the word heart in the cartridge name, not the image set. So if you search something and it's only coming up with sets like this means you're searching cartridges. So this is, for example, if I'm searching for a Disney cartridge, it's going to bring up all of the Disney cartridges that are available through Cricut. If I was to go to images, it will bring up all the Disney images regardless of where they're at. So you can see I even have images in here from another source that isn't Cricut, images I've uploaded.
I know we've probably mentioned this once before, but is the adapter out for the maker for your cartridges?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not to my knowledge. I haven't seen it.
And do you have to have a computer to link your GIPSY cartridge to Design Studio?
You do need to have a computer.
Okay.
I believe so.
How do you download your cartridge to Design Space?
So once again, so it is going to be a process. Right now, there is not an upload into the maker. If you have a Cricut Explore machine, they have a little cartridge insert inside of the machine. You would put your cartridge into the Cricut Explorer, and then your Cricut Explorer is obviously set into Cricut Design Space. So you would come up here to the little hamburger thing, and you're going to see down here where it says Link Cartridges. You would hit Link Cartridge, and then I don't have a machine set up right now, but essentially you'd pick your machine, you would insert your cartridge, and then it would link it to Cricut Design Space. So that's how you would do it if you have an Explorer machine. If you have a Maker, that's what the Maker adapter is coming out for. Right now, you'd be able to call Cricut Design Space or Cricut, and they would be able to help you through that.
Can you upload photos?
We can, and we're going to be talking about that in the upload part of the segment here. Okay. So back to images, and if there's questions like these, I might come back to them, because if not, it kind of jumbles everywhere. So Sean might come back to those when he sees that I'm in a certain point. So anyways, that was talking about searching cartridges. There is one more thing I wanted to show you on here, and that is the filter option and this option. The filter lets you filter images based on what you're looking for. So are we looking for images in My Images? So My Images would be images that I have created myself, uploaded images, which we'll talk about in one sec. Free images. Free images are every week Cricut releases a set of images that are free for the week. Cricut Access, so that's only images that are part of the Cricut Access. So if you're a Cricut Access member and you don't want to spend money on an additional design and you want to just look for, let's say, hearts in Cricut Access, you can hit select Cricut Access, and that's just going to bring up that Cricut Access. So that way you will know exactly what you're looking for. The last one there is purchase. So these are going to be images that you have purchased from Cricut. So if you purchased an image from Cricut, that's where you'd find it. But you'll see there's also, you can search by type, which I do all the time. I always search for phrases, and you can look for single layer items or multiple layer items. So what does that mean? If we were to bring this one in, this XOXO, let's say we bring that in, and here is that image. When we look at this image, it's a single layer. There's nothing else with this image. There's only one layer. Where the candy hearts have multiple layers over here. You can see over here. So that's the difference between single layer, multiple layer. And the last thing I wanted to show you over here is this. A lot of people don't know this exists. You can see our search results right now. If I was to click this little thing here, it makes my boxes smaller, but gives me more results right on our screen. So depending on, do you want to see more results in Cricut Design Space, or do you like to see them bigger? And that's basically all that does, is it gives you those options. There is also a little eye in any of your image sets, and I use this all the time. So if I was to come down to here where we've already looked this cutie sweet and hit this little eye, it tells me what the cartridge image name is, and it tells me what cartridge it's attached to. So this little heart is attached to Sweet Shop. So if I want to click that, it's going to bring up that cartridge and all the images on Sweet Shop. So if you like a certain design and you're thinking, I wonder if there is coordinating designs with this image, or if there is something else that I need from this image set, that's how you can quickly find out what cartridge they're on, and you can quickly find out the name. So for future reference, if you know you want this one and it's called Suckers, you could write that down. So that's images within Cricut Design Space. Before we move on to upload images, what questions do you guys have just on the image portion? So images brought to you by Cricut or Cricut Access, or images just in this section.
So far, we've talked about a lot of the, let's see, where was it? Here's, can you use free images and create a design when it's no longer free and still have access to it?
So if you create an image and where it's no longer free, do you still have access to use the image library? You will not. It's only free for that week. So right now, if we were to go to categories, see where it says categories, and it says free this week, that means for this week only, all of these images are free. That means I can use them for this week. Now, as soon as next week comes and a new image set comes in, if you designed with this image set, you would have to pay for those images unless they're part of Cricut Access.
What is the number attached to the image?
The number attached to the image, are you talking about this number here?
Maybe so.
Maybe so. I believe
Sorry.
this is just they're in the classification that they have for the images themselves. Other than that, I do not know what this number. To me, it's got to be what Cricut has classified as that image set.
If you purchase a cartridge, use the image. I'm allowed to sell my craft with the image on it.
You have to refer to Cricut's angel policy. So Cricut has an angel policy, which if you were to go to their website, and I believe you scroll all the way down, it will say legal and privacy. And they have an angel policy right here. If you click that, this will give you all of their policies on using their images and what does that mean? What is copyright? How can you sell it? And third-party restrictions. And there's a lot, but basically will go every single detail you would ever want to know about selling images. From Disney images to everything. And I do not believe if you own the cartridge, you can sell for, to make money on those images. If it was something you're making for a friend and you want to give that friend a gift, you can use it for that. But to actually mass produce items and sell them, I do not believe you can. But once again, I would refer to the angel policy.
Someone did ask about if I do something with a Disney, can I sell it? And the answer, it was answered, no, you cannot, because it is a licensed product. It was a while back, but
Gotcha.
somebody was able to answer that. So just to let you know.
All right.
Somebody says, tell them about premium access.
So premium access is the full package. And what I mean by that is you're going to get everything from all of your fonts, your images. You're going to save 50% off digital images. You're going to get 10% off physical purchases. And then you cannot pay for this for monthly, though. You do have to pay for it annually. So if you're someone that buys a lot of digital purchases, the 50% off would work or would be a huge advantage for you. So that's the big deal on the full package. And if you're, like I said, once again, it comes down to licensed content. So make sure there's a little asterisk there. And if you read the asterisk, it tells you the 50% off you don't get off of includes Walt Disney images, Sesame Street, so on and so forth. Any other questions before I move on that?
Nope, I think we're good.
So I know we're still having some
just a few
volume issues.
Yeah, just a few
Can
people.
you hear me? It's going to be loud, but so it's not. Yeah. I don't know what the deal is.
We hear fine on ours.
I apologize, guys. This is why I'm not a big fan of using the multiple camera systems. Is we can't.
It's a free system.
It's a free system, and I can't troubleshoot those. But it was made loud and clear to me that people like the multiple cameras. But unfortunately, I don't know why there's the volume issue. So So I apologize. All right, so let's talk about uploading images. So you can see some of the images I've already uploaded here. And uploaded images allow you basically to either upload pattern fill or basic images or vector images. So what's the difference here? We're going to start with this side over here. This is where you're going to go to upload your SVGs, your PNGs, your JPEG images, all of those. So if you bought an SVG from a store, you'd be able to upload it from here. And if we went to, let's just say, Google Images and upload an image, you'd be able to upload it here. I want to stress right now, I am not a patent attorney. I am not a trademark attorney. I don't know all the laws around it. So if you are going to upload licensed images from Google and use them in your projects or to sell them and stuff, I can't tell you that's right or wrong. I'll show you how to upload the images to use them for personal use. However, anything business, you're going to want to find an attorney or ask someone that, because I would hate for you guys to upload images that are licensed and start selling them, because that is not usually the case. People like to protect their intellectual property, so very important. So let's first take a look at this one here. If let's say I was to go to Google Images, and let's go ahead and I go to this one here where it says Google Images. And if I was to search, let's just say bird cartoon character or something. Let's just say bird cartoon. And we see this little cute bird right there. So all you'd have to do is hit view image, and that would bring up just that image file. Now we know that this is a PNG file. How do we know it's a PNG file, Sean?
Because there's nothing in the background. You have that
No, there's checkerboards in the background. Okay,
That's
so
what I'm
if
thinking.
you see a checkerboard background behind your image, that means it's a PNG file, which is great. Because if I was to save this and upload it to Cricut Design Space, there's nothing to clean up. So for example, if I hit save image as, and I'm going to save this as, well, that's good, bird blue cutie. Save. Now when I go into Cricut Design Space, all I have to do is hit upload image. I'm going to browse, or I can drag and drop, which is really cool. So I'm going to, this is going to give you guys a headache there, so I'll do that. Here's that bird on my desktop. You guys can all see right there, there's a bird. I can drag and drop that there, and it brings that bird right into play. Now we know it has no background. It's got that checkerboard, so it's a nice PNG file. So all I have to do is go through the rest of this. I always choose complex. I've often asked people saying, what's the differences between simple, moderate, complex? I always go with complex because it gives me as much detail and it removes a lot of the background for me. So hit continue. It's going to go ahead and bring the bird zoomed, and I'm going to zoom out to make sure I got the full bird. And since there's no background, I don't need to clean anything here.
Beth has a good question about something like this. Can you actually change the color of that blue bird? Or is it once what it is what it is?
You can, and I'll show you that here in one quick second. You're able to change the color if we were to bring this in at different layers, or change the color all consistently. So I'll show you what I mean by that. Right now we're not cleaning up any background. If I hit continue, this brings us to our last image here. So we have a couple options here, and then I'll get back to that question for you, Sean.
Thanks.
So you see on the left-hand side, we can save this image as a print then cut image, which means that if I was to bring this into Design Space, it tells Design Space this is print then cut, and it's going to save it just as you see here. If I just did the cut image, that's only going to save it as the outline of this bird. Now this is the one I can change the color on, is the cut file. But I want to save it as a print then cut. Then over here, this is the image name. So when you search for this in Design Space, this would be the image name. So I'm going to say blue bird. And then tags are very important. A lot of people don't use tags, but if you have a lot of images, tags are important. Because if I put bird, blue, spring, whatever we want, when we go search in Cricut Design Space for, let's say, blue, it would bring up this image. So once I want it saved as a print then cut, bird, all my tags, I just hit save. And then you're going to see all of the images that you've uploaded will be right under here. So now we have this. If we hit the little info, it tells us it's a blue bird. And we're able to do other options like delete it. So if I didn't want this, let's say this guy here I uploaded, if I hit the little I and hit delete, it'll say, are you sure you want to delete this image? Yes. There you go. So back to your question. So can you change the color? It's kind of one of those questions. The best way to answer it would be, let's use this bird again. So if we wanted to change the color, we would have to take a multi-layered or a single layer image and break it into multi-layers. So what does that mean, Sean?
It's a complex thing, and it can cut each individual one, correct?
Well, the question is can we change the color of the bird, right?
Right,
So the only way you can change the color and make this, because this is a flat image, is we have to upload each layer into Design Space. So essentially, looking at this little bird here, we would get rid of the bird's beak and the legs, and then you would have to upload each layer. So we can do that real quick. It's very easy. Plus, this will show you some tools. So over here, you have select and erase, or crop. And these are pretty self-explanatory. The one I use the most is this little magic wand. And all this does is if I click within a certain color, it will get rid of that color. So there, got rid of that little beak. Come down here, get rid of the feet. And you can see they're gone. So now, technically, I have this part of the bird left. The other option you have here is just erase, which gives you an eraser size, and wherever you put the eraser is where it would erase on the bird. Of course, up here you also have undo and redo if you don't like something. Last thing is crop. Wherever you draw the crop box, it crops up on the image. You also have undo, redo, zoom in, and zoom out. Like so. So back to the question on can you change the color of the bird. I'm going to quickly show you how to do that by using a single layered image. That's what this is. This bird is one layer at this point. So you have to think in layers. I need an orange layer. I need this blue layer. I need this layer. And then the eye layer. Right, Sean?
That's correct.
So the first thing is we need to get the bottom layer, which is, let's say, this beak. So this way we would keep the entire bird, but we want to save it as a cut image because this would be our base color, which is the orange feet and the beak. So are you following me, Sean?
I think so.
So we're going to say this is the orange layer of bird, and I won't put tags in it just to save time. So we have that first orange layer. We're going to do the same process over again. We're going to bring that bird in, go to complex. Now, since I already have the feet and the beak, I don't need the beak and the feet, right?
Right.
So now we have just the bird, which is going to be this blue color. So we're going to hit continue. That's going to bring us up to this image here. So this poor little bird has no feet or little nose. So we're going to say this is the blue main part and save it. The last thing we need then is what?
Next one will be the wing.
Okay.
Or the eye.
So once again, you would get rid of that, and so we don't want this, the eye, or these little feet down here. So we just have what left?
Last is the body or the eye.
The eye.
The eye. Right.
Yeah. So but we have to save this one. So this is the but look at what we have here and here.
Ooh.
Uh-oh. So we have to go back, hit the back button, and I need to fix that. So where is that stuff? That's hard to see, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what you have to do is you have a preview here down below. Do you see where it says preview?
Yep.
That's bringing up a preview. So you want to make sure that you click this, and then that changed it from a print and cut file to this cut file. So I can see where these little things are, and I can grab my eraser, put it on big. We want big old hefty eraser. And we're just going to kind of go through and know where that is at. So preview. So we still have a little bit more here to clean up. So this is one way you can do it, but there is an easier way, Sean. What do you think the easiest way would be to clean up all this?
I'm not sure.
All right. So if you hit hide preview, make sure you're zoomed all the way out and use the crop.
And just keep that.
And then that will just crop in on the wing. So I can hit continue, and it cleaned up the rest of that stuff. If you forgot it, not a big deal. You can go back and clean it up, but there you go.
Nice.
So bird wing. And then the last one would be what?
Let's see. The eye would be the last one.
So go ahead and ask me that question.
Okay, this last one that we're seeing, there's a couple more in there, but it says, why not just change the color of the layer when you hit layers for the layer you are cutting when it shows all 4 layers on the right?
So this image is a PNG image. I downloaded it from Google. So because it's a PNG image, PNG images are only one layer. Only one. So you don't have, unfortunately, the option to break it down per layer. So we're actually creating the layers of the bird at this present time. Now, if you had a SVG file, yes, absolutely, you would be able to just isolate the layer you want and change that color. So I can show you what I mean by that. Let me finish this process for you because that's a very valid question.
Mm-hmm.
So what they're saying basically, and it's a great question, is you uploaded this bird. I see all 4 colors. Well, if I select this bird and hit insert images, it's going to bring in that image I uploaded. Well, we need to make sure this little image is a little smaller. Let's get rid of all of this. So we're just working with this bird. Normally, if this was an SVG file, I would have 4 different layers. I'd have an orange layer, a blue layer, this teal layer, and then this eye layer. But as you notice over here, it's only 1 layer. So I can't change the color of one of those layers. But what you can do is upload each piece like we did and then change the layers.
When you cropped that wing, somebody was asking, did it actually change size or did it stay the same? Because it looks like it got bigger.
It might have gotten bigger, but the solution to that you're seeing me do right now is I always bring in the image as what you see right here, the print and cut image, which is back here. And then I can go through and make these images whatever size I want to. So let's do that now. I have the main body of the bird right here. So I can bring this up to my print and cut image. And basically, he needs to be a little smaller, is how you'd have to do it. Now, this is only for PNG images, guys. This is something I found on the internet. And I'm basically going and, making it into a multi-layer image. So let's say we want the bird this time to be pink, just like so. Actually, this is his feet layers because it's got the feet. So now we have the feet. So we're going to hide this image for right now. There's a little eyeball over here until we can do the rest of this for the other one. So now we need the body. So now I can come up here and match the body up to my print and cut size. So I use this a lot when it is, let's say I'm making a card for a friend and it's a licensed image and I can't find an SVG file. I'll create my own SVG files by doing something like this.
Somebody was just asking, can you actually convert that PNG into an SVG?
There's programs out there that allow you to do that. So Inkscape is one of them. They're a little harder to learn sometimes and you have to do a lot of cleanup. So you can absolutely do it. It's definitely doable. But this is using basically the program as it's given to us. So we're not using any third-party programs. This is just showing you how you can change based on that question of the bird. So my point of showing this kind of is absolutely you can do it. It's going to require a lot of steps to do it though. But now that we have all of our pieces, we can bring them all back in. The last thing is that eyeball. We want to bring that to the front. So arranges up here, move to front, and we probably should change that, huh? So it's not that.
Maybe black.
Black. So that's how you could bring all of this in and change the color of the bird's body. So yes, it's a lot of steps. Yeah. I'm not disagreeing with you, but it is a way for you to do it. And now we've taken a single layer and created multiple layers.
Yep. And Fatima, you are correct. If you have a choice between PNG and SVG, choose the SVG.
Correct. Anytime you have a choice between PNG, SVG, you want to do SVG because it will bring it in with all the layers, which I should have an SVG. Let's see if I do to show you. So this is a PNG file. So I'm going to upload and we're going to go to upload images, browse, and I'm going to look for an I think I have an SVG file here. So documents, that's Cricut Design Space. Do I not have my images on here? Oh, SVG files. Ta-da. So here's an SVG. Let's use, I have a lot of SVGs. Let's see here. Halloween, what's too cute to spook? So this is I think this is from Miss Kate's Cuttables. So you see right here, it says SVGs. And this is all of the SVGs. When you have an SVG, it's going to bring in all of the layers. Let me do a different one. I actually like this one, this Moana.
Moana.
So here is a Moana, and if I was to save this, that's all you do. You bring in the SVG, and it has all of the layers, just like that. So this, I would be able to go through and now get rid of all of those layers. So for example, here's Moana. We don't want the watermark on there. And now we're ready to go. So this shows you exactly the difference between PNG and SVG. PNG, even though it is, we have, you know, this bird that has what it looks like is 4 layers, it really doesn't. It's 1 layer. So if I was to hit go with Cricut on this, it's going to be a print and cut. This Moana's got all of the layers you would ever need for this, because that's an SVG file. It brought in all of the layers. You can see over here now, all of those layers are here. There's a ton of the layers, so that's going to be a lot of cutting. And that Moana could be 2 inches by the time it's done, but it's there. Where this guy here is going to be print and cut. And I know that because there's a little printer here versus a cut here. So that's the big difference between PNG and SVG. The only other thing that there could be is something called a JPEG file, which, let's just confuse you even more. Here is this a JPEG? View image. Yeah, this is a JPEG. So a JPEG is essentially a picture that the background's still there. So if I was to take this into Cricut Design Space and upload it, I would have to get rid of the background. So there's, oh, it says it's a PNG, but it technically has a little bit of a background. So right now, if I wanted to print and cut this guy, I have to clean this background. Really all I have to do is get rid of it by using the magic wand. That's it. And now I've created that background free. But if you have a complex image with a lot of background that you have to get rid of, that's why PNG is better. But anytime you can choose SVG, choose it. The problem is we have a hard time, like, for example, this Snoopy file. This was something I brought in from Google Images. We made our pajama tops out of them. There was no SVG file out here that looked like this. So you can see that where I went through the process that I did with this bird. I started with Snoopy's bottom here right layer, which was the black layer, and then I had Snoopy's white layer, and then I had his hat here. So I had to bring those all in as separate. Even though it was a PNG file, I had to create those layers to get that image to what I needed it to do.
Renee was asking, so if you change the colors or remove something, how do you make it just make it cut just the image if you attach and flatten?
So I'm assuming you're talking about a print and cut. Is that correct? So for example, let's get rid of these guys. So I'm assuming if I brought in all of those layers and we want to change the color of the bird, is that what they're talking about?
Yeah, because she was saying earlier that when I bring in an uploaded SVG and try to change the color, I have issues with saving it. It goes right back to the original color.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So you're saying on this one, let's say we wanted to change it. So what I mean, and I could be wrong, but let's say I want to change her eye color, which is right here, to blue. I just want to make sure it's ungrouped. Everything has to be ungrouped so it's individual layers. I click on here, which is her eyes. It brings up, you can see her eyes. Change it to blue. Now her eyes are blue. Now I'm going to draw a whole box around her. Hit group. And then I should be able to make it. And let's see if her eyes are blue, because that would have been the only blue color. There you go.
Blue eyes.
Blue eyes. So that's how I do it. Now, every time I bring this character in, I'm going to have to change her eyes because this was designed by the designer with brown eyes. There's no way for me, unless I save it. Obviously, you can say, oh, save this now as a Cricut Design Space file with the blue eyes, but there's no way for me to upload it with blue eyes. I would have to go in every single time and change it and then cut it. So the question is can you print and cut her? You absolutely can, and it's super easy. So here she is, all layers. If I was to hit make it right now, with all those layers, it tells Cricut Design Space, hey, your Cricut Explorer is going to cut 14 layers, I think. Wow. 19 layers, and you're going to layer it. And you're like, wow, that's a lot of work, Ken. I'm not doing that. Well, print and cut her. You're going to draw a box around her. Isn't she cute? And right over here, do you see where it says flatten? Right here, it's got 2 little squares. You're going to hit flatten. That's taking all of your layers and smushing it into one.
There you go.
Now when I hit make it, and we know it's print and cut because we have a little print and cut image there. When I hit make it, it's going to tell Cricut Design Space, well, I have to make her less than a certain size. You know how they are. So we need it to be, let's do her at, what? That sounds bad. I don't mean it bad. So now you can see she's print then cut. It will print just around her. So it would print then and cut it. So you can absolutely, and you can do that with any image, guys. I don't think I mentioned that. So let's say I go into Cricut, and I'm a huge fan of print then cut. It's one of my favorite things this machine does because it does a beautiful job. So let's say this with love. I bring it in. Comes into Cricut Design Space as a layered image. We have all the layers here. And I think, oh no, I just want to print then cut it. I can just highlight the whole image, hit flatten, and it immediately turns it into a print then cut file for you. You don't have to do anything else. Now it will print it. If I want to unflatten it, if I want to make it a cuttable image again, it's pretty easy. You just put a box around it and hit unflatten.
How do you know the difference between SVG or PNG? We kind of went through that once, but
yeah, the biggest thing is
your file, your isn't it like a lot of times it'll tell you on the file name?
Technically, yes. So if you're saving something, so if I went to this image, let's say, and I'm going to save the image on a Mac, it tells you what it's saving as. So I'm saving this image down here. Do you see where it says this? JPEG. It's saving this as a JPEG file. So it's going to save it as a JPEG. Where on the other bird, it said PNG file. SVG file, you're definitely going to know because SVG files will always say SVG, but they will come in multiple layers. SVGs is scalable vector graphic, which means it is taking every color and created a layer by it. So that's how you can pretty much tell. Quickly to tell on here, anything that has one single layer here, if you hit the what?
I want a Shawn and Ken shirt.
Oh, that's cute.
That's cute. Sorry, it just was funny. So print and cut. Cricut Explorer does the print.
Okay, this is a great question, Dawn. So if we were to bring in this bird image, and let's get rid of this with love image. So we're going to move this bird, get rid of this here, and then we're going to make this bird, what, let's say we're going to make him 5 inches, not 527 inches. Whew, that'd be tall. So 5 inches. We know this is print then cut. Why, Sean? How do we know this is a print then cut file?
Because it's a one-layered image.
How can you quickly tell?
There's no layers at all, or it will say that it is.
So you can quickly tell something's print then cut. Go to your layers panel, which is over here. Right there, there's a little printer icon. Anytime you see this printer icon, you have a print then cut file on your hands. So if you were to select this and hit anything besides print then cut, let's say cut, as you can see, the bird turned just all gray because it's saying you're taking a single layer and changing it to a color. So that's how you know you have a print then cut file on your hands, is by doing that. Yeah. So let's undo this until we get back to this. So print then cut. The question is how does that work? If I hit make this and I say, yep, looks good, I want to continue, it says send images to printer. So essentially I would pick my maker and then I'm going to send this to the printer, and then I'm going to print this on my printer, my home-based printer, whether it be a Canon or whatever inkjet printer I have. And then once I print it, then I would put it into the machine. So this would go into the machine, and this here is your registration mark. So my Cricut Maker or Cricut Explorer would go and scan all of these little lines here, this box around the bird. Once it's done scanning, it would go around and cut this entire bird.
There you go.
So it does not, the Cricut machines do not print the image. They're just going to cut them. So you are going to need a printer.
I think also when you're looking at things to upload and stuff, you probably want to make sure you find images that are somewhat high in resolution.
That's a really good point. All right. You guys heard my disclosure, so I'm going to show you this. I'm not telling you to go buy these, or to sell these, but if we look up Mickey Mouse here, it brings up all these images. So a couple things you want to look at when you're doing this is this image right here, let's say. That's going to come in as a JPEG because there is a background. So we would have to clean up this entire background to print and cut Mickey. This could be kind of a pain because your background, as you can see, has a whole bunch of different colors, and we're going to have to make sure to get rid of all of that. If we go to this guy, what does that checkerboard background mean?
Yeah, it's a PNG.
PNG, so the background's already been removed. But to Sean's point, the higher the resolution, the better. So essentially, we have Mickey Mouse here, and you can always tell your resolution over here underneath the name. So you can see right here, it says 400 by 498. So that means this image size is 400 by 498, just like it says.
And those are pixel size.
Those are pixel sizes. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
So the higher this number, the higher resolution. So you can see right here on this Mickey, 520 by 854, we're getting a little bit of a higher resolution. 401, 600. So the larger that number is, the better resolution. Now, any size like this should be fine for what we're printing and cutting. But if you get an image and it's a little bit off, that could be the reason why. Sorry, our dog is chewing a bone and it gets super loud. He's found every single bone in the entire house.
Sorry.
So that's what Sean was saying on image resolution.
Yeah,
is
because
the higher,
if it's
the
small,
better.
and then you blow it up, all of a sudden it gets really pixelated.
Yeah. So if you have an image, and what he means by that is if you have an image and it's a small pixel image, let me see here. Even this one here, it's gonna, I can show you what's gonna end up happening. So let's save this image. We bring this into Cricut Design Space. So we're gonna go to Upload Images. And this one should be fine. It's the ones that are like 200 by 200 that you have a problem. So if we were to get rid of first the background, there you go. Get rid of all the background. So even the ones that you can't think are background, which are in between his legs and his tail there. And then we save this. As we make this bigger, you can already tell right here. See how on the cut image, there's all of this kind of around him? It's because the image isn't a high quality image, so it's very pixelated. And everything you see around this image is the little pixels that it couldn't get rid of because it wasn't a high quality image. So to Sean's point, the higher that number, the better the image. So if we were to look at this one, this is 736 by 1220. You can see how big this, look at how big that image is. So it's going to have a much better time cleaning up and bringing it in because it's got more definition. It's just like a TV. That's the reason people want a high def TV is they want to be able to bring in.
And
so
see the super high quality.
You're going to see how big this Mickey comes in. He's huge. So now when we get rid of it.
One in his arm too.
Which one in his arm?
Where his arm's like this, he's got white space there.
Other option. Oh, good catch, Sean. So
somebody was just asking why you're doing that. Somebody was just asking, do you have a certain tool that can tell you find only large images?
Yeah. So there's a couple different ways you can do it. On a Google image search, I just basically, to be honest, I just go HD because the HD essentially is kind of lingo that it's high definition. So it's bringing up, you can see the big, look at this one, is 1920 by 1200.
That's huge.
1024 by 1008. So HD is bringing up those high definition images that will import beautifully into Design Space. You might have to clean up the background. But you can also go into settings, or tools, excuse me, and tools will tell you size. So what size? Large, medium, you want large, and everything. Oh, look at this. This is new. I've never seen this. Usage rights. Wow, they know. Google knows what we're doing, Sean. They're on to us. So that's cool. That's very cool. So not filtered by license, labeled for reused with modification, labeled for reuse. I've never seen that before. That's very cool. Kind of tells you right there what you should be doing with these images.
Where's a good place to find these images? Google.
I find a lot of images on Google. Now, Google will not ever bring you in SVG images. So all of these images, you're not going to be able to go find me a Mickey Mouse SVG. Those are always going to be usually purchased or created by someone using a third-party program. What Google Images is going to give you is all of the JPEG or PNGs that you can bring into Design Space in layers or create layers or mostly what people are using these files for is print and cut. So, I mean, if you love this graphic and you want to put it on your son's birthday card and you're going to print and cut it, this is what a lot of people are using Google Images for, is to be able to go in there and bring this in to print and cut and put it on like a birthday announcement or something. Yep. So before we go, I know that was a lot of information. It's one of the number
so
one
more out there.
Yeah, that's number one requested thing on Cricut Design Space is how to upload my own images. Is it easy? I will let you know, compared to everything else on the market, Cricut Design Space has made uploading images very user-friendly because you can get rid of backgrounds and you can, with a few clicks, bring in items and then cut. So that's the reason I love using Cricut Design Space to bring in images. There is a little bit of restrictions. So as you guys saw, if I bring in this bird and I want to print and cut, let's say this bird at 15 feet, it's just not going to happen because you can see right now I'm at 27 inches. If I hit make it, it's going to say, nope, your print and cut image needs to be 9.25 by 6.75 or less to print this image. So there is some restrictions, but there's ways around that too. That's another video, but it gives you an idea. So you can see using Cricut Design Space gives you access to literally anything because you can use their images. And you guys got to remember, they have over 75,000 images in the Cricut library now. They also have licensed images. So if you don't want to go through all the hassle of trying to find a free Mickey Mouse and you look at all the Disney cartridges, they actually have an entire cartridge of Mickey. Look at all these different Mickey images they have. Granted, you have to buy them. So like, for example, this one here is $29.99. But I can buy this Mickey and Minnie image for $1.99, which is a lot cheaper than trying to go find the image and clean it up. And he comes in with all the layers ready to go. So there I have him. Once again, that's cut. I can tell it's cut. How? Because of all of these layers over here. And you have this little scissor, which means it's cutting this image. But I can also just hit that flatten option. And now he's a print and cut.
Perfect. Don't
want to unflatten him. So they also have Disney images, but that's how you use their images or upload your own images, which it only gives you the last, I think, 12 images you've uploaded. But if you want to see how many images, SVGs or my own images, I'll show you here. So
somebody was asking this was before.
Oh, yes.
If you know how important tags were and saved, can you add them later?
To an image that you uploaded?
I don't know if it says that, but I'm assuming so.
So I can't add tags to Cricut's images because they own those. They're in control. But let's look. I don't believe I can after the fact. So if I look at my uploaded images, let's see how many uploaded images Oh, wow. I've uploaded over 1,000 images, Sean.
Wow.
No wonder why Google's on to me. So let's say this image here that I uploaded. So my image set, there is not a way to add tags after the fact. So I would have to delete it and re-upload it with those tags. And so there's no way for me to edit it.
Yes, that's what you were. Yes, that's the question you asked. You answered it correctly.
Was I being tested?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Did you say, well, something that you saved? Yes.
Yeah. So if it's if you've already saved it, you would have to re-upload it. So there's no way for you to actually go in and edit that image. Even if you're in this uploaded part, there's no way. There's only delete. So there's no way to upload the tags after that point. Yeah. So sadly, like right here, you can see I have a little Lego guy. If I was to look up Lego, because I didn't save him with that tag, he's not going to show up. So
but
only...
Can you go to him now and put the word Lego?
No, I would have to re-upload him.
Re-upload all of
yeah,
it.
There's no way to edit it after you've uploaded it.
Do it quick.
Yeah.
Sounds like something they could fix, too. Seems like it would be.
Yeah, you would think, but I'm not a computer programmer, so...
Nope.
All right, guys, so any last-minute questions? I know it was a lot to go over. We will, in another video, talk about what pattern fill is. Just out of a guess, Sean, what do you think pattern fill is?
That's how you can fill up a space itself with something in there.
Is he right?
I don't know.
All right. I will show you guys just because I love all of you. So if I was to buy digital paper, so I bought in digital paper before. I don't know if I have any on this computer. Or let's say I'm just looking up a digital background. What?
Speaking of Legos, how's our Lego rebuilding?
It's not.
We're not
It's super
rebuilding
sad.
anything. We're taking everything apart and
Yeah.
separating.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. It's going to take a while.
Yeah, exactly. So digital pattern background. You can buy digital paper and bring it in, but let's say I want to bring in, which this is not the best image to use, but yeah, well, let's do it. So if this image, if I save it, obviously this isn't an image I'm going to want to cut or anything, but I can actually save this and bring it in as a pattern. So I'm going to browse just like I would for an SVG. It's going to bring in that and say, hey, here's a pattern. You're uploading a pattern. What is this pattern called? What theme is this pattern? What style is the pattern? What colors do you recommend to go with this pattern? It has a ton of options. To be honest, I probably don't classify this as much. I basically just say save. And the part that people get freaked out on is when they've saved their pattern, you would think it would go underneath with the rest of the images as that we saw with our images, but you don't. And it's like, where did my pattern go? Sean, where's the pattern?
Yeah, it's probably saved somewhere on your
it's somewhere
images,
in there.
probably under images, maybe. I don't know.
Let me bring in a square for you. Let's help Sean out here. So I brought in a basic square, and oh, I'm so excited. Remember how I said what kind of file is this, Sean?
That's a cut, print and cut.
Nope, that's a cut file.
There's a
It's
cut
scissors.
file. Oh, sorry, I didn't
Yep.
say that.
So if I was to go to print then cut, and now it's saying, oh, it's a print then cut. Now, where do you think I can find my patterns?
Right in there.
Yep. So now that it's a print then cut, I can hit patterns. And this is where my library of patterns would be kept. So we have uploaded, we have images, patterns from Cricut, patterns I can buy. But there is that pattern I had. So if I select that pattern, watch what happens. Oh, now I can print and cut.
Nice.
So why is this cool, Sean?
You can literally take that pattern and have it in any shape.
I'm going to blow your mind here. So I'm going to go to get rid of my uploaded images and bring in just any old regular image, including Cricut images. I'm going to bring in this heart. So let's say I now want to, that candy heart, I want to be pattern and I want to print it. I can actually go to make that level, print and cut, and then go to patterns and change. Oh.
Look at that.
So now I can print and cut that and have a pattern in my heart.
Sweet.
Isn't that cool? There's a whole nother video on patterns that I will share with you guys because you can scale your patterns. You can make the pattern bigger or smaller within here. So you can actually go in here and like you can hit edit and look at this. You can change how your scale is. So you want the pattern to be really small or you want the pattern to be zoomed in on one specific area. There's a ton of stuff you guys can do with patterns. I think patterns are one of the most underused things in Cricut design space. You can literally take any file and create patterns. So this means if you have Minnie Mouse, this is where I get excited about it, you guys. See, look, Sean shouldn't have asked this question because now we are going over our hour, Sean. You're in trouble. But I get excited about patterns, as you can tell, because you can do
the other thing you need
so
to do
much.
next time is how you can import a picture.
Oh, that's super easy.
Super easy.
That one's super easy. So here's Minnie Mouse. If I want her to have a pattern, all I do is go to print and cut, patterns, and now I can make her dress little. Look at that. And
white polka dots. Look at that.
I'm so excited. So now you can print and cut her dress and have any pattern. So if you have, this is how cool this is. If you took a picture of your granddaughter with a Mickey Mouse, let's say stuffed animal, and she's wearing a pink polka dot, you can even take a picture of her pink polka dot, bring it in as a pattern to match what's happening on your page with Minnie Mouse right there.
Wow.
So pictures are super easy, you guys. You just go to upload image, browse, and I will go here. Let's find a cute picture of, let's see, personal photos. Let's see. There's one of me and my mom's pillow. There it is. That's it.
Done.
You brought your image in. So you can bring in any photo and then print this off any way you want. So once that image is brought into Cricut Design Space, you can basically bring in anything. It's really cool. I can now print and cut this. So I can insert this, and now I can print and cut it. Just like that. I can also bring it in as a pattern, or I can, if you bring it in as a pattern, what's cool on that is then you can use it in a shape. So I brought it in as a pattern this time. And if you go to shapes, let's bring in what shape? Do you want a heart or a star? Let's do a heart.
It's a heart.
So if I did a heart, and now I can bring in, change it to print then cut, patterns. I should come up right here. And, oh, look at that. That's how cool photos are here, you guys. And then if I want to actually take it a step further, I can go down to here where it says edit, and I can scale it down to where it's not cutting off my head. But if I scale it too far down, it's going to replicate that picture, you see?
It's doing a wraparound.
Yeah, it's doing a wraparound.
And then multiples.
Yep. So it's always going to put it in the heart where it thinks is the best, but that's so cool. I absolutely love that feature. So there's a lot of different cool features I don't think people know are in Cricut Design Space. As you can see, I get excited because there's so much. People tell me all the time, I don't use Cricut Design Space because it's so limited. But you can see right here how much you can really do. It's just knowing the software. So I think patterns are one of the most underused feature in Cricut Design Space.
How do people use their photos for vinyl cuts? Print vinyl? Printable vinyl, maybe? Is that what they mean?
I don't know what that question is. How do people use their photos for vinyl cuts? I don't know what that question means, but I do know. Oh, I know what you're saying. So they're using it. I can point you to a certain video or do that in a different video. It's a completely separate program. You're going in and creating a file and then bringing it in. They're basically saying like they did on my mom's block, where they took a photo and then made that image to where the vinyl will cut out that outlayer of mom and stuff.
I see, yes.
And then they're putting that vinyl on the block. I see what they're asking. So
you could make stickers.
Stamped images will be on another episode, just because there is something you'd have to do different on that. It's not just easy as bringing it in and then and cutting a stamp image around it. Yeah. And then the block one, I got that as a video too. I'll do that for you as well. So,
very cool. Any
last minute questions? We went way over our hour, but I picked a topic that was a lot of information right at first.
Go back to you.
Oh, gotcha. I'm like, what? What do you mean back to me?
No, not that.
I'm getting there. Would you simmer down now? Jeez.
There you are. There he is.
These lights are no good. No good.
They don't put off that many cheats.
All right, so that was Cricut Images and how to upload your own images, how to use Cricut Images. The three biggest takeaways I would tell you is, number one, the Cricut Access is absolutely worth it. It is worth the $9.99 I spend every month on it to get access to 75,000 images, because I can usually always find a Cricut image to take care of the need, so I don't have to go searching the internet or searching for an SVG file and all that stuff. The next takeaway is you can absolutely use Cricut Design Space as its system to create layered images. So many people want to go and use Inkscape, or they want to go use all these complicated programs, but those aren't either a solution, because then you have to learn that program, and sometimes the layers don't really turn out the way you wanted to. So I always encourage people to look for images that would be easy to bring in as a layered image. So you're looking for very precise colors, so you don't want any shading in there or anything. And the biggest takeaway is explore the software. I cannot stress that enough. There's so much hidden in here of what people do that do amazing things in Cricut Design Space. Adding patterns, adding photos to your patterns, and being able to perfectly put it in a shape. Changing the pattern. I don't know how many times I see someone create, a project with Mickey and Minnie on it. And they, you know, will go find a piece of cardstock that matches perfectly to their kid's outfit, and they spend all this time, and I'm like, well, why didn't you just take a photo of it, of your kid's shirt, and bring it in as a pattern fill and print and cut it? It would have been a perfect match then. So think outside the box when using print and cut. You can cut part of it and print and cut part of it. So you can take that mini image and have all those different layers and just print and cut her dress and cut the rest of it out using cardstock. So don't be afraid to mix it all up.
Oh, very cool.
All right, we will be back tomorrow for Chalk Couture live. And then every Tuesday I'm going to be trying to do these design space videos. Sorry, this one was a little bit long.
Somebody just said they love that Chalk Couture you did.
Oh, that one?
Yeah, they love that.
Isn't that fun? We did that on Facebook.
Yep.
So fun.
Very cool.
And then we also did that one. But so we will be back tomorrow. Any ideas on things you want to see in Design Space, reach out to me on Facebook. All of the links are down below on how you can buy Cricut Access, the Cricut Maker. Join our Facebook group so we can help you out and support us using the links down below. So
there you go.
All right, guys. Thanks so much. Have a good night.